Well, the scoreless streak is over, but unfortunately, the winless streak is not. The Yankees fall to the Angels 3-2 on Wednesday night, forcing them down to their sixth consecutive loss. They got a couple runs on the board, a couple solo shots in this game, one by Jazz Chisholm to get things going in the bottom of the second. Had a 2-1 lead after a Cody Bellinger solo shot in the bottom of the fourth, but a Joe Adell home run and then some just questionable defensive plays in the eighth inning cost the Yankees as they fall again 3-2. The Yankees have just scored 7 runs over their last 7 games. That is their fewest total runs in any 7-game span since August of 1968. They are the first team with 7 runs or fewer across a 7-game span since the Cardinals from in July of 2022. Shout out to Jacob K. For that piece of information. It's bad. It's not good, and it's going from everybody. Judge struggled in this game. His past 6 games, he is 2 for 23 with 14 strikeouts during this 6-game losing streak, and he's lost more than 25 points off his batting average in that span. So, as we sit here listening to this podcast now, Aaron Judge's batting average, again, not picking on him, but after going 0 for 4, is now down to 366, OBP at 463. So, and his OPS is under 1,200 for the first time in a while. But really, this is just another disappointing game. Ryan Yarbrough was solid, 5 1/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 2 earned runs. You can argue, he gave up a couple solo shots, but, maybe could have stayed in a little bit longer. Some walk troubles from Fernando Cruz, an error on what looked to be a double play ball by Anthony Volpe in the 8th. Allowed the Angels to get the winning run, and then this offense just couldn't quite do it. Escara hits the ball hard in the 9th. Didn't really matter. The Yankees had opportunities, first and second, nobody out. And earlier, I'm trying to see what inning that was, because that was also a turning point in the game. Grisham's not able to get a bunt down. It just turns into this whole thing. I believe that was. I'm sorry, I'm double checking here. I believe that was the 7th inning, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check here. No, it was the 8th inning. Because Jason Dominguez got a walk, Austin Wells was hit by a pitch, and then Trent Grisham wasn't able to get a bunt down, so he ends up taking the sign off, pops out to Logan O'Hoppe. Judge crushes the ball, but just to deep center field, and then Cody Bellinger pops out, and the Yankees are unable to score there, and obviously just not things are just not going well for this team overall. The pitching has still been fine. I mean, I know we can, Fernando Cruz had some of his issues, and the walks were a problem. You give up a couple home runs if you're Yarbrough, which has been fine. He's been known to give up a home run here and there, but it's really just it sucks. And I think for the Yankees in particular, Katie Sharp, by the way, with an excellent stat as I'm recording this right now. There are only 2 times in history that the Yankees have had a 7-game span with 7 runs or fewer and 6 or more losses. This stretch right now, and September 1st through 7th of 1908. Good God. It's bad. It's bad, and like I said, you have a team ERA hovering under 2.5 in this losing streak. It's just not. It's not their fault. I mean, and so I guess we just sit here saying the same things. I mean, at least they scored. I mean, imagine if they didn't. But it doesn't. I don't feel any solace. They got to get out of this. And by the way, as we're speaking right now, I'm recording right after the game. The Rays have overcome an 8-0 deficit against the Baltimore Orioles to defeat them. Baltimore got out to took an 8-0 lead in the second inning and doesn't win that game. And Tampa just continues to be as hot as they could possibly be. And they're now going to be a game and a half back of the Yankees in the division. And it's unfortunate. I don't even know what more to say at this point. The rest of this team is just not doing what it needs to do. Like this is, I know there's going to be a lot of conversation about Anthony Volpe. You know, you make an error on what looks like a routine double play ball in the 8th inning. You then strike out swinging on a fastball down the middle in the 9th inning with a runner on to end the game. He's already been a pretty polarizing player for the Yankees all season long, and I think that's something that's going to end up continuing. And the late game, the last 2 innings of this game did nothing to help him, but, you know, nobody's doing anything. The Yankees got 3 hits in this game. You know, the Jazz solo home run, a Bellinger solo home run, and a Bellinger single. That's it. That's all they got in this game. You know, they worked 4 walks, but it's just not enough. You know, it's just not enough right now. And you're looking at this lineup, and I mean, as I just scan down the lineup, and I know batting average is a little bit of an antiquated way to look at it, but for the purposes of this conversation, I just want to read these numbers to you as we're going down the lineup, the starting lineup for this game, and to kind of illustrate the problem that this team is having now. 239, 366, 251, 300, 223, 228, 235, 235, 157. The guy's coming off the bench. 444, that's Stanton. 226, 217, 244. Those are all the batting averages coming out of Wednesday night's game. They're just not getting consistent contributions anymore. And that was the element that this team really had the advantage of for those first 2 months of the year, is that they were getting contributions. Even if it wasn't necessarily consistent game to game, they were getting enough contributions from enough different people in the lineup and getting significant power contributions to make up for it. It's not happening anymore. You know, Trent Grisham has fallen off completely offensively. You know, Judge is slumping really bad right now. You know, Jazz, hit or miss so far this year. Ben Rice, really slumping right now. Anthony Volpe, slumping. Jason Dominguez, slumping. Austin Wells, who wasn't the starter today, slumping. It's just this lineup. Outside of Stanton in the couple games that he's played back, I thought Bellinger for, you know, the last month or so has been better, but like this entire lineup has gone into a deep slump. And it's just, they got to fix it. And they're not facing good pitchers right now. I understand getting shut down by Crochet. I understand that from like the Boston series, or like they're getting shut down by guys with 5 ERAs. Like it's just not where it needs to be. But the only other piece of news we'll talk about tonight is Ben Rice. He got his first career major league start behind the plate. Did not play the whole game. I believe he played was 7 or 8 innings back there. Looked fairly solid throughout a runner. You know, could see there's still some mechanical stuff he needs to do a little bit better. I know he had a little trouble with some of Fernando Cruz's splitters when he first came into the game, and then obviously but good to see him get that opportunity. You know, this is now his 6th game behind the plate this year. So for those of you that play fantasy baseball, he's 4 more appearances away from gaining catcher eligibility. So for those of you that care about that sort of a thing, that's something to kind of note. From a Yankees perspective, it just shows different ways that they're going to construct this lineup. You know, tonight it was Austin Wells sitting, and it was Giancarlo Stanton sitting. And so we're just going to kind of see different ways Aaron Boone uses this lineup. Again, I wish I could say that to you with something more exciting, but really wasn't. I guess the only other thing I'll mention before we sign off, that the reports of the Yankees having a players-only meeting on Tuesday night after their 5th consecutive loss, and they go on to lose 6 here tonight, was not true. The players, several players, Aaron Boone and others have all denied that this has happened. So whether they'll have to have one soon, I don't know. I mean, I don't. look, we could sit here and look, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about Boone being to blame for, and there's been a lot of times and a lot of playoff situations that you look at some of the managerial decisions and you question whether or not that this is the manager that can get them over the top. But right now, I don't know what you want him to do. Nobody is hitting. Not even Judge. Nobody's hitting. He's moving guys around the lineup. He's trying different things. It's not happening. So if you want to be mad at Boone for things you might normally be mad at him about. I don't know I can't blame him for this stretch when literally nobody is hitting in any capacity. So they're just going to have to get this figured out. And they're going to have to get this figured out soon because you're going to look up in a few days and you could be in second place in the AL East, which was something that would have been unthinkable when this month began. That you could end the month not in first place in the division. Unthinkable. And now the margin's getting razor thin. It's got to get better. Series finale against the Angels on Thursday night. Thursday afternoon. I get so used to saying night games. It is a 1:05 p.m. Eastern start time, so an afternoon matinee. Tyler Anderson versus Carlos Rodon. Can the Yankees get it right, man? I get maybe. We'll see. Day game after night game is usually not a great scenario for offense, and really, Yankee games haven't been a great scenario for offense lately, for any side. So we'll see how it goes. We'll cover it right here on the Bombers Beat podcast, but man, I was hoping to have something more positive, and I thought that Jazz home run in the second inning, I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be a different tone on this podcast, and unfortunately it wasn't, but we'll see what they do this afternoon.